Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the SoulCanvas Podcast. I'm your host, Jenifer Madson, and this is the place to be possible. I've been away for a little bit, for several weeks, actually, maybe even closer to a month or so, while we had a couple of hurricanes come through, while I went to Morocco for an artist retreat. I was in Denver for a while with clients, managing the hurricane after effects from afar. Of course, we had the election. It's been a pretty wild time. And now we're back. And this is still the place to be possible. What I mean by that is that I want to consistently engage in conversations and strategies for you of bringing your visions to life. If you're that kind of person who has a calling on your heart, whether or not you've defined it, but you just feel called to greater fulfillment and impact in your life, this is the place to be. We will continue to be in conversations with others about what's come true for their lives by saying yes to self-love, travel, adventure, health, all sorts of topics on moving your life to a next level. And today I want to share with you my steps for bringing vision to life, whatever stage of vision that you're in. So I have what's called the IAM code for visioning, and it starts by identifying what the vision and purpose is. Then we go into aligning resources to support that vision, and then mapping the path for bringing it to life. Quick plug, starting in January, we have the next Vision Quest Mastermind group that comes together for 9 months to do a deep dive on this vision work. It's a very small group. If you feel called to this, reach out to me. We'll have a conversation to see if it's really for you. And it's so powerful in its effect of not only giving you that strategic framework for identifying vision, aligning resources, mapping the path, it also gives you a community of people that not only see your vision and encourage your vision, but amplify it by their support. And of course, you get me in the process, and I've been doing this for a very long time. I am fairly expert in my ability to stay in this objective space of what's possible for you, while I also feel in the deepest part of my heart and soul the enthusiasm for the impact that you have in the world. So again, if you feel called to that, reach out to me. We'll set up a time for a strategy session and see if it's really for you. So let's dive in to this vision code, the I am code, and talk about some of the fundamentals of it. It will also give you a better understanding of the kind of work that I do with either private coaching or the mastermind that I just mentioned. The very first thing I want to make a distinction around with vision is that vision is more than a dream, although it probably starts with a wish or a hope that moves to something of a dream and then gets to the vision stage. And what I know is present when you are ready to really identify that vision is that you feel this very deep sense of calling. It's a must for you. And I use the word must all the time because it distinguishes in a way that no other word does. Not a should, it's not a could, it's not a like to, nice if. It is whatever the must is for you. And again, you may not even know what your vision is. You may not know that your vision is to write a book about something or create a business or start a movement or any number of things that a vision manifests into, like the model of it. You have to know whether or not being called to that level feels like a must for you. It's a little scary. It feels big. It feels important. It feels like a must. So that's my first encouragement for you, invitation for you is to check in and see, am I that person? who feels called to more. Now, every time I invite people to have that inquiry, many, many times anyway, people will come back to me and say, well, it's not a Mother Teresa sized thing. It's just this opportunity to explore the musts for your life is all yours. There's no need to justify, explain, apologize, compare, compete. Simply to drop in and look at, identify, get into what is that for you? Where do you feel really called? Maybe you start out by identifying an area of your life that you feel called to elevate, to use for some greater impact. Maybe it's a personal impact that for instance, health-wise, if you were in a different state, that it would impact your family in a huge way or your community. The trick is to say, what's the must for me? Is there a must for me? And if so, what might that be? Because I promise you, if you make time for it, if you make space for it, if you make the peaceful environment for that exploration, you'll find out what's going on. You'll be able to hear your soul's calling. Now, secondly, once you put your finger on whether or not you feel like you're in a must mode in your life, then what do you do next? You don't dive right into a game plan for it. I believe that the next right step is to confront, which means to face, not to fight, to confront any limitations of the mind, body, soul that you can see potentially standing in the way of stepping up for this must, whatever it is. It might be how you see yourself. It might be how you see the world. It might be a lack of encouragement and support around you. Whatever those things are, this step 2 would be to identify any and all that you can think of, obstacles, limitations for bringing this vision to the world. Again, even if you know exactly what the vision is, you might find out, for instance, that you have an identity for yourself that says, I can't have this. This is too big. This is for other people. I'm not smart enough. I'm too old for this. I'm not educated enough. I'm not enough, or I'm too much. It's pretty much those categories that it falls into if you boil it down. Identify that, because there's a way to flip the script on it that empowers you to say, if it's a knowledge thing, for instance, I don't know now, but I can learn. Instead of, I don't have that answer, so I can't have the outcome. You hear those subtle shifts and very powerful shifts in how we speak to ourselves, and whether how we speak to ourselves stands in the way, has the last word on whether or not we really get into the world and have the impact that we want. Okay? So you're going to identify your vision, identify anything that's standing in the way of it, and identify whatever this vision is, why it's a must for you. Now, at this stage of the work that I do with private clients and in our group mastermind, we use certain tools like Wheel of Life and other sort of like life purpose journaling, sometimes even drawing, to identify what the actual vision is. Now, that's kind of a deep dive. You could do it with me. You can do it on your own. Really deciding, I do feel called to write a book, build a business, start a movement, create something in my community, grow my family, whatever the vision is that feels like a must for you in this step needs to have clarification and development, right? It deserves to have that. It deserves to have the details behind it. Now, there's a process for that. Okay. So know that will take some time. Again, if you do it on your own or otherwise. And when you write that vision story and you write it in present day terms, it's a game changer. It sets the wheels in motion for your energy and your mindset and the universe to start responding to it, because you show up differently when you know what it is you really want to be up to in the world in the first place. Okay. All right. So that's an overall on the I of the I am code. Identify your vision, identify any of the blocks, and identify the story, the whole build out of what it is. The second step that we get into is aligning. Once you know the vision that's a must for you, it's time to align the people, the skills, the resources to support that vision. I will tell you straight up, my genius in the world is my ability to blend abstract concept with strategic framework. Vision's all well and good. Vision story is all well and good, but without key components, strategic components, and we haven't even gotten to the map yet, it stays a dream. It just stays a story. We want to now look at, for you individually, for the system around you in terms of skills and the resources, what needs to be in place, what must be in place to support this vision. And that's a visioning exercise, a resource alignment exercise that we go into in great detail in that coaching program to help you determine exactly what you need in terms of belief and skill, what the other people aligned need for belief and skill to support you, and then the resources on belief and skill. Once you have all that outlined, then it's time to get to the third part of this, which is the map. And I call that the magical action plan. Magic action plan? Yeah, magic action plan. And that is the opportunity to brainstorm everything you think it's going to take to get to your ultimate outcome and raise up the 20% of those items that will get you 80% of your results. But before you do all that big to-do list, you must, there's that word again, you must know what your ultimate outcome is, the why of it, why it's a must, not just a wish. And then we can get into the brain dump, all the things, no particular order. Write them all down, write them down, write them down. Go back into the list, find the 20% that will get you 80% of your results. Schedule those, complete those, celebrate those, and then raise up or delegate the next bunch. I have done this work, like I said, repeatedly for 20 years, for myself, for others, for little projects, big projects, because again, when we use judgment words of little, big, etc., that already puts a kind of a container around it that doesn't need to be there. What are the musts of your life? How must you be? What must you experience? How must you impact? Answer those questions, my friends, relative to any part of your life, and then align what needs to be aligned to support it, map it out, and start taking those steps every day. And I promise you, those dreams become visions, become musts, become manifest, they come to life. All right. So if you would like more information on how we will do that in our SoulCanvas Collective, which is the 9-month mastermind, it starts January 13th. There's space for 14 people, 15, one's already taken. Then please just reach out, send me an email, shoot me a DM, and we'll talk about whether or not it's for you. In any case, I hope this information was helpful. I love this work so much. It's so powerful. And I would love to hear one way or the other how you use this to manifest your vision in life. Thanks for coming back. Thanks for joining me again. And I will see you soon.